So are you familiar with solid principle?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain about that?
So solid is design principles like S stand for single responsibility. So each Java class should have a single responsibility. Suppose we have a
Hmm.
class addition, right? So it should only provide the functionality to add the numbers, not to like multiply or subtract and all
Hmm.
those things.
Hmm.
Now coming to O, so open is open close principle. So each class should be like open for the extension but close for the modification. So if we want to add some new functionality, we should override the class and provide the new functionality. Coming to
Hmm.
L, so L is the list of substitution principle. So whenever we have a parent class, we have a child class. So for the object, right? So the
Hmm.
object can be replaced either with the parent or the child. So
Hmm.
that is the list of, so that should be possible. So that is list of substitution. And IE interface aggregation. So that is suppose I have an interface having you can say calculate interface I have, in which I have add, subtract, and divide four
Hmm.
methods, and I am implementing the class addition, like implementing using class addition. So now class addition should like class addition only require the method add, but if we implement interface, then we have to implement all the methods, right? So then
Hmm.
we can go for interface aggregation. We can have four different interfaces, for one for add, one for subtraction. So that is interface aggregation. And D is the dependency inversion. So we will provide the dependency, the dependent objects that we have in the class outside of the you can say class, instead of hard coding using new keywords.
Right. Okay. Very good. So, what do you know about design patterns? So,
So design
uh,
pattern, I'm like not much aware about it, but like I'm aware of factory pattern. We have a like singleton pattern and
hmm.
builder pattern. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. We'll start with some Java. So in Java, how do you run a class without any using any IDE? So you have a Java program. You are given a Java program and it has a main function in it
Mm-hmm.
or method in it. So how will you run without any IDE?
Yeah, so now like we will open the command prompt, and then we will use Java C command for
Hmm.
compiling the class, like Java C space class name dot Java, and then
Hmm.
once the you can say the class is compiled, we will use Java space class name to execute the file.
Okay. So can I have different name for the file name and different name for the class name?
Uh, you can have, but you like again the it will not find the main method, because the main method in which we have the main method, right? So the
Hmm.
if you want to call that main method, then the class name and the file name should be same.
Right. Okay. Fine. So in this process, so what are the tools involved? Like, we have JDK, JRE, JVM. So in this particular Java C and Java things, so what are the tools used for this?
Okay, so if I talk about the hierarchy, like in JDK we have JRE and in JRE we have JVM. So whenever we do write some code, right, and we do some Java C to compile the code,
Hmm.
so that Java C commands come from the JDK. And when we do Java space some class file, right, that we want to run, so that Java
Hmm.
command comes from the JRE.
Okay. 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 Right. Fine. So can you tell me the difference between interface and abstract class in terms of Java 8?
In terms of Java 8,
Hmm.
so abstract class, like in like interfaces, we can't have the variables, right? So but in abstract class we can have the variables, and in interfaces we have the mm, abstract methods, as well as we can in Java 8 we can have the default methods as well, where we have the default implementation. In abstract class, again we can have the abstract method and the default you can say method with which have some implementations. And for you can say using the object of that interface, right? So using calling the method of that interface, the default method, so we have to create the object of, we have to either create an anonymous object, or we have to override that implement the interface. And same goes with the abstract class as well. And the other thing is if we are extending abstract class, then we can't extend any more class, but doing interface we can achieve multiple inheritance as well.
Right. Okay. So in interface, can we have variables?
So interfaces, I believe, can have public static final variables, not instance variables.
Okay. So any idea why it is so?
Public static final variable, not sure on that.
So okay. So we have, like, two types of passing arguments. One is passed by reference, another one is passed by value. So what does Java use?
So Java like uses pass by value only.
Okay. But if I am passing an object to another method, and if I change the instance variable or in the state of the object inside the method, which is called, so I can still alter the method,
So
right?
yeah,
So
so when like thing
mm,
is, when we suppose we are using primitive data type, right? So when we pass the primitive data type, so for the scenario of primitive data type, what it does is like, it creates a copy and assign it to the variable. But in case of the you can say objects, right? If you have a list or an object, so it copies that reference to that new the parameter object. So whenever we change it in that method, so it will reflect it to the original one. So it
Right.
doesn't create the
Okay.
copy at that point of time.
Fine. Okay. Okay. So can you tell me the difference between iterator and iterable?
So iterable is an interface
Mm.
which like have these methods, has next and all those things, and
Okay.
iterator. So iterator is one which is actually iterating over the this collections. So iterator is implementing iterable interface.
Okay. Fine. So if at all we have to, extend or implement iterable interface, so what are the things we need to take care?
So like if we have to write our own iterator, right? So it then
Mm.
what we need to do is like suppose I want an iterator which will iterate over some collection, right? So methods like has next and next, we have these two methods suppose, and we want to
Mm-hmm.
implement. So what we will do is whenever the iterator, our custom iterator is getting
Right.
initialized, so during initialization I will
Mm.
get some collection, right? So based upon that collection I will save that collection to the array list.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
once I copy this to array list, so and I will create a new variable that is index, you can say, which will be
Mm.
initialized to 0. Whenever has next is checked, I will check if the I is less than the size of the array list, then I will
Mm-hmm.
return true and otherwise false. And for next element I will return the so the next element return type will be the particular object in the array list, right? So it will return
Mm-hmm.
me the array list dot get particular I index.
Right. Okay. Fine. So can you tell me the difference between hash map and hash table?
So hash table is a legacy class, and hash table is synchronized and hash map is not synchronized.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So are you familiar with Spring and Spring Boot, Nishan?
Yeah, I've like done some POCs on Spring Boot.
Okay. Okay. So what is your whatever the latest project you have worked on? So what is the architecture looks like in that? And what are the technologies or libraries or frameworks you have used in that?
So it's like the application was completely built on struts. So we have like Maven, we
Okay.
are having struts,
Mm.
and it was also having Spring action classes, like Spring configuration for maintaining the beans and action
Mm.
classes. So it was
Okay.
mix of, you can say, struts, Spring, and Maven Hibernate and Leap.
Okay. Right. Okay. So what is the specialty of Spring? Why does almost all the Java project have Spring in them?
So Spring, like for one thing is like the dependence injection, right? So we achieve dependence injection in Spring like very easily. So we have the annotations to tell like this thing, like this particular project will be treated as a bean. So Spring has IOC container, so which you can say maintains all those beans. And whenever we request a bean, so it will automatically inject it from the outside. So that is one of the benefit. Other thing is like we have some auto configurations that we need. Like we don't, if you're going to Spring Boot, right? So we can get rid of the JDBC template and all JDBC connection, and also it will automatically configure as the connection. So we have some you can say inbuilt interfaces which we can use to get some like features of the CRUD, right? And
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, so like there are multiple, I would say, benefits. Boilerplate codes, like some of the boilerplate code are reduced in Spring, and yeah,
Right.
so like
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. That's it. So in Spring, if you see in the Spring architecture, so there is something called Spring Core Container. So, do you know what are the elements which are present as part of the basic core container of Spring?
yeah, the Spring core is more about the IOC container only, I believe. And so
Mm.
whenever we start our application, right? So all the beans, like if you have defined in XML file, or we have like defined using annotation. So all the, you
Mhm.
can say, packages are scanned, and all the components, the particular beans are created and copied into the IOC container maintained by the IOC container. And whenever someone requests it, so that
Mhm.
dependency is injected into that particular bean.
Right. Okay. So here, so you said, I mean, Spring scans all the packages and classes, right? So, how do you think Spring handles or Spring does that internally? How does it, read the classes, read the packages and all this
So
annotations?
okay, internally I'm not sure, like we use like in Spring Boot we have enabled auto configuration, right? So we have added that component scan. So the Spring Boot
Mm.
application annotation initially uses component scan, internally using component scan only, so which you can say scans all the sub packages of the parent package.
Okay.
And in the Spring, if there is, we have a property, right? Component based scan, something like that property is there, we define
Mm.
it in the file,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
define the packages that we want to scan.
Right, right, right. So if we have to, simulate or replicate the same process of, scanning a package and then list all the class files in it. So how can you do it in Java without using any Spring?
So in that case, like if we say, right, the when we have some package, right, so it's you can say more of type file explorer type. So
Mm.
we can write some recursion where we will see all the particular folders and the subfolders with .java file, and if any of the file is having any annotation related to that bean or component, then we will create an object of that particular bean, and we will save it into some database or a list, you can say. And whenever that is
How will you read the annotations?
how will you so
How
yeah
will you read the annotation?
so
Yeah.
we have to use reflection in that case, like if we have to do some reading the annotations or method signatures and all things.
Right. Okay. Fine. Okay. So how proficient are you in Spring Boot? Based on that, I'll see what I can ask you.
I think
Have you done, I mean, extensive applications in it, or just some very sample hello world kind of a basic stuff in it?
not hello world, like I've built some APIs and also like built some microservices
Okay.
architecture in Spring Boot.
Right. Okay. So in that case, so what does Spring Boot brings extra apart from what Spring already has? Like Spring already has an MVC framework and all. So what
So
does Spring
one is
Boot
the auto
brings
configuration,
extra?
like like we have some dependencies of the class path, like we have a SQL dependency and we have the properties defined in the application property. So whenever the Spring find and you can say dependency in the class path, so it automatically configure the objects for that particular, like if you have a SQL dependency in the class path, so it will automatically configure the connection for to the database using the application property file that defines there. And also we have embedded Tomcat server in the Spring Boot application, so that is also one benefit. And apart from that, again IOC dependency injection is same common between both. And like yeah, so again the like annotation, it's completely based on annotations, like. And then we can also have our customer, you can custom classes, like if suppose we have like in Spring Boot we have a Spring Factory file, right, Spring.factory, where we define all the files, like the so whenever for particular file one dependency is found in the class path, so it automatically configure the instance of the particular file. So in case of like SQL, right, so we have a SQL connection class defined in the Spring.factories file, and whenever a class dependency comes on the, so it configures the connection, so we can create custom classes as well for this one.
Fine. Okay. That's enough for Nishant. So, uh, are you familiar with the Spring Data Repository?
Sorry.
Spring
Yeah.
Repository, Data Repository. Okay. So, it follows a specific naming convention, right? Can you tell about the naming convention?
You mean to say method naming convention?
Yeah, the naming
Okay.
conventions.
So like if we want to save, right, something, then we go for simple save keyword. And if it's finding something, right, so find by, then what particular attribute, like what we are finding by, suppose you are finding by ID, right, so find by ID. If find or name, find
Right.
by name, then pass the name in that.
Okay, got it. Okay, good. So, so Spring Boot by default it comes with Tomcat, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the use of a web server for running a web application? So, what does it do? What does Tomcat do?
So Tomcat is to like expose our application to the, you can say, external servers or external users, you can say, like if we don't have Tomcat, right, we need some platform where we can actually run our application. So like so Tomcat is something where we can deploy our application and we can access them using the URLs of the Tomcat, like the localhost and some port number and the actual path. So Tomcat is more of like deploying the application.
Right. Okay. So, what is the life cycle of a HTTP request? So, usually HTTP request originates from a client's browser or any devices, for that matter, if it is an API. So, it goes all the way to the server, and then something happens behind the scene, and then you get the response back. So, what is the life cycle of it, and what are the various stages it goes through?
So life cycle, I'm not sure. Like if talk about stages, right? So like, whenever the request comes to the server, right? So we have a dispatcher servlet or a front controller in the Spring, and it goes to that particular controller. So based upon that, it finds the appropriate controller in the source code, and after that, it calls that controller, and then it do some service DAO, and then return the response, and the response goes to the this dispatcher servlet, and dispatcher servlet again identifies whether like it's a page or something, like then based upon that it you can say finds the view resolver and then renders the actual view to the customer.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fine. Are you familiar with REST APIs,
Yep.
Nishant? Okay. So, what are the different HTTP methods which are available in HTTP? I mean, the REST API.
We have HTTP get, we have post, we have put, we have delete, and we have patch, we have many more.
Right. Okay. So, can we interchangeably use them? Mostly, get is used for retrieving, post is used for creating new and all this. So, can we interchangeably use them in our code backend?
So you mean to say like
or is there any strict
we are using like
convention?
you mean to say like we are using get for saving the something, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
something
thing
like
is
that.
like we can use them. It will not give an error. But again, like we are violating the laws of RESTful API. Like we have retracement maturity model, which says like get should be used for when we are only getting. So we are violating the rules of RESTful API.
Right. Okay. Fine. Are you familiar with cross-origin scripting? CORS,
Sorry.
cross-origin resource sharing, CORS. Are you familiar with them?
I don't remember right now. Like
Hmm.
we like we meant to say like we configure it in the Spring Security. Usually we disable it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember what exactly it
Right.
was.
Right. Right. Okay. Fine. Okay, Nishant. I think I'm almost done with my questions.